You know what else is bad? Robots giving birth to humans.
So I just came across this story not too long ago, and as someone who loves AI, and I love technology, this story about the Chinese creating these robots with artificial wombs so that they can birth humans, this feels crazier than science fiction. This is stranger than fiction. This is the most insane thing I have seen in a very long time. And as someone who thinks, I don't mind some of the technology with creating these artificial wombs because, occasionally there's a time where there's a really preemie baby, and it would be a great way to be able to save a preemie baby. But where the Chinese are going with this isn't about saving a baby in a womb because there's something wrong with the mom or dad. This is about creating humans that aren't birthed by humans.
They're playing God, and yeah, there's a lot of weird implications to it. But let's talk about kind of like what has led to this, I mean, because the Chinese have invented this technology. I refuse to believe that we don't have it. I think it's pretty foolish to assume that we don't have this technology as well, especially considering America in general has a tighter classification system. However, it is very much infiltrated by the Chinese. And I saw it, like, we had these Chinese native people that were writing the code for the planes that I was test flying in my last job. Like, they're all over the government. So I wouldn't doubt that this technology already belongs to us.
Well, and with all the black sites and with all the skunk works and all the other programs that we'd have, I mean, it would be pretty naive to think that we don't have it. And I would actually understand why the government might not tell everyone that we're doing some of these things. Like, I might not agree that I think it's bad that the government isn't telling us, but I can understand why the government wouldn't be telling us that we can do some of this technology.
I think it's politics. I think it's because if someone on the right wing introduces it, now they have that dirt staining them. If someone on the left wing introduces it, the same thing. So I think it's kind of similar with, we all know that weather modification is happening. It's not a conspiracy theory. There's Wikipedia articles. The Chinese bragged about manipulating the weather for the Olympics. I mean, like, it is out there. However, not a single one of our politicians has gotten up on a podium and said, hey, look, this is what we're honestly doing. Because that's going to sink the whole party.
Yeah. It was the Children's Hospital of, I think, Philadelphia,
yeah.
Your hometown. They started off with the artificial wombs. We were talking about this before, that they started off with a lamb, and they were able to take a baby lamb, and they were able to keep it in this artificial womb. It's kind of like a bio bag. Ziploc bag is kind of something like that.
That's one way to put it.
To really simplify it down. And they were able to keep this lamb alive and develop a lungs and some other things. And then, I think it was either last year or this year, the same place started making it extended versions of that so that we can start trying it on preemie babies. And that's what we know that we've done.
There's another thing. What was the thing where a few years back they created human embryos and like they didn't have sperm and eggs?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting story.
I don't remember where that was. Do you remember?
I believe it was China, because a lot of these stories, like, the first time they did human cloning, you hear that about in China. Mm-hmm. The first time, there's a lot of stuff that China will admit to doing because it makes them sound powerful. And
yeah. And when you think about it, what's the last thing we admitted to? Dolly?
Yeah. Yeah, true.
What was that, like 1992 or something? Like
That's true. I didn't think about it that way. That is very, very true.
Yeah, it's just like how they lost the technology for the moon landing. They were like, nope, we're not doing any cloning. They lost the technology right there in 92 with Dolly.
Yeah, either our government or the people doing the research is very incompetent and we regularly lose things, or they just like to put the cover back on the box and just do things quietly again.
Hey, what was that? Nothing. Nothing. No, there was something there. No, there's nothing there.
Oh man, it's but just thinking about the direction we're going. So this Chinese robot. So we're already seeing the robots start looking like humans. We're seeing Elon Musk, he's built some of them with his Tesla. We're seeing these robots start to practice sports. Sometimes you see the scary dogs, but we're not talking about those. We're talking about a robot that is simply designed to mimic a mother carrying a baby, to the point where they're doing synthetic hormones, like hormone type things.
Well, yeah, they're using, isn't it? It's an AI program that they're using.
Yeah.
And they're regulating the hormones, the oxygen levels, the nourishment.
Yeah,
it's quite weird.
It's having that like Matrix vibe, like the first part of Matrix when Neo pulls that thing out of the back of his head and he wakes up in that pod. But this is like a pod built onto a bipedal human robot that we can move around.
It's just so creepy. And the fact that, so apparently this is going to be rolling out next year, and it's going to be $14,000 per baby.
And that's cheaper than IVS or a lot of the other therapies that we're doing now to help people get pregnant.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it's a benefit for the mom. You know, the pregnancy, I have a pregnant wife right now. It is very tough on the female body. It's just, just not worth the $14,000, I don't think. And then the implications of once they start implementing gene editing into this and like CRISPR technology, like just imagine, like you want to have a baby, so you have this robot that's gonna, create and hold this baby for you. And let's say like in the beginning, before you even create it, there's like a character select, like you're playing Fallout or something. And it's like a character select screen, and you want to make the cheeks more narrow, and you want blue eyes, and like you customize how your baby looks. And it's like, oh, we have a history of colon cancer. Let's edit that gene and get rid of it. Like, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, because it is a good thing. You could totally, in one generation, eliminate every genetic disorder on the planet. However,
if we understood, I still think there's dangers to that, because as we starting to learn more and more about genes and our telomeres and all the other important things, where sometimes if you take one thing away, it cascades and makes something else worse, and you might not notice for late in life.
Yeah. It could be cool though. Like, no, I don't want a kid with green eyes. I want a kid with blue eyes. And then like he's born with laser vision or something, or he's just like, I can see perfectly in the dark.
Or I want him to have a 200 IQ.
Yeah, 200 IQ.
Yeah.
Or something weird. He's like born with 3 testicles or something.
But yeah, I mean, and the thing is this sounds crazy, but CRISPR technology is getting cheaper and cheaper. There's home kits right now for as low as like $800 to $2,000. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody get out there and do those home kits, but just thinking about that technology for the average consumer, then $14,000 being able to buy this walking birthing machine.
Well, I think you're just renting the whatever, what do you call it?
Yeah, but some rich people will want to buy it. Some rich people will end up buying it. Like, just keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah. I could especially see some 70 and 80-year-old billionaires. Like, what was that one story? Did you hear about the Vanderbilts, the Anderson Cooper's family? How his mom was talking about being artificially inseminated by him?
Yep.
His mother was talking about that? Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the elites are weird. The more you peek behind that curtain, the weirder it gets.
Oh, it gets. I agree. The elites get super weird. That's what's concerning me about this is they'll crisp it. They'll do their CRISPR genes. They'll have this like walking birthing machine around, and they'll do some stupid stuff to make ridiculously like, oh, I want my baby to be a movie star, the top streamer in the world, and they're going to try to put in these genes for that. And then if we forget that person was built and they breed with normal people, like, we're going to start creating a weird new
That is true. Yeah, it'll
things.
Contaminate the entire gene pool.
Yeah.
And if there is genetic mutations as a result, like, those are going to carry on into our species.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be kind of cool to give birth to like a clone of PewDiePie and be like, all right, kid, one day go get yourself 100 million subs on YouTube.
what is the Hatford chin, that British chin that the royalty has. Those are the kind of things that I worry about.
Hatford chin?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's
is so like a butt chin?
When the British people, you see a lot of the royalty, they got that really big. You'll see it in a lot of comic books or a lot of cartoons. They have that really giant, like prominent chin. But that actually messes with the jawline in the cheek line. But that was designed because of so much inbreeding that the British royalty did for so long.
I mean, I also think about the bond between a mother and a child, because, I mean, I believe there's a lot more going on in a mother's body when they're carrying the baby. Like, yeah, like there's hormone things, and the mom is nourishing the baby and stuff like this robot is gonna apparently be able to do. But I think there's a lot of bonding that happens without speaking, like the kicks that you feel, and like you're getting to meet the child slowly, and you know, as they grow auditory capabilities, they start to hear your voice and they recognize your voice. And actually when they're born, by the time they're born, they recognize your voice. So like it's just like it feels like it's just gonna completely upend the entire family dynamic. It's just very, very strange.
I mean, we know today that if the mother is under extreme stress during second and third trimester, that actually will futurely affect the personality of the children.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that, and this isn't theory anymore. They've been studying this for 20 some years, maybe 25 years, where they would have like baby Einstein, or they'd have classical music, and if they'd have classical music or very comfortable types of music playing with a pregnant mother, especially in third trimester, that they say that would actually help increase the IQ or stabilize the IQ so that other things didn't have it dropped. We also know that C-sections have a level of disconnect from the baby and mom when we do C-sections. And that's it still being in your body your whole time, just like the last minute of it, you know, being in its mother, the last minute of it being ripped about and separating, and that actually affects the child's development as well. So what is this going to do when it has zero, when it's 100% artificial?
Yeah.
Like,
the C-section thing scares me to death. I mean, that's the reason why we do midwives. We don't go to like a traditional hospital type thing for any of our child care. But you know, if you go to a regular doctor and, you know, during the childbirth, if the woman's not dilated enough or whatever, they go straight. They don't, there's no troubleshooting, there's nothing. They go straight to giving you drugs and giving you a C-section. And I'm a firm believer, and I think it's very, very, very highly likely that they're doing it for kickbacks. They're doing it because now you're not just paying for a birth, now you're paying for a C-section. You're paying for that injection that they give you before you get the C-section. So it's going to up your hospital bill by however much.
Well, another reason, and my sister's friends did this, is they wanted their baby born on a particular day. So they had a C-section on that particular day, so the baby would have the birthday that they wanted. And I'm just like, that just sounds, it sounds like we're trying to take too much control, and that's what this does. Again, if they came to me and said, we're going to use this for mothers that, you know, halfway through their term are having really complications in birth, and we want to make sure the baby and the mother survive, I'm all for these being used for situations like this. But doing this not involving two humans? So that reminds me of a song back in the 1960s. The song was 2525 by Zager and Evans, I believe it was. And the song was about how over time we're not going to need humans. So one of the lines of the song is, in the year 2525, if man is still alive. And then it progresses on about how we won't need a man or a woman. And, you know, they were predicting this in the 2525s. And we're seeing this by the 2040s. That's going to be crazy. Yeah, the 1960s. Sometimes when you look back on the music that came out in the 60s and 70s, they were either predicting or programming. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of things were kind of predicting and programming, like the Jetsons, you know, you had like James Bond with all these weird future technology gadgets and whatnot. But in reality, like a lot of those technologies came to be, you know?
Yeah.
Like I remember as a kid watching Empire Strikes Back. And in the beginning, when Luke's riding the Tauntaun and he's talking to Han Solo and he's got this like arm, I thought that was the most amazing thing in the world. How he pulls up his arm. He's like, you know, ain't enough life on this planet to fill a space cruiser or whatever. Like, just so much of it. Like the science fiction technology, especially Star Trek. We don't have tricorders yet. I can't wait for tricorders, but.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I love this story because my grandfather was born in the 1920s down here in southern Virginia, and he loved Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy was one of his favorite comic books. Everything about Dick Tracy, and on his 90th birthday, I bought him an Apple Watch. Because he finally, in his lifetime, got his own Dick Tracy watch, where he could just say a name, and his watch would call who he wanted to call, and he loved that thing. He was so amazed on that thing, and he's like, "I have a Dick Tracy watch."
That's funny.
And it was, yeah. So it is really interesting how technology, the fun parts of technology, it's not all scary and doom and gloom, but it's also really fun too.
Mm-hmm. What was the other? Oh yeah. Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget. He had that little thing on his little wristwatch where he could talk into it. But yeah, all those little things were kind of predicting. I think it's predictive programming. I think they either had a concept of the technology back then, or they just straight up had it invented.
Yeah.
Because you know the DARPA, Skunk Works, like the really really deep research and development in the government. I mean, they're always generations ahead of what the public has access to. So use your imagination. There's some weird stuff out there.